Okay. Let's see if we can do this correctly. All right, it's about like that. And then let's see, we go onto our site. See that I'm like, oh, I like that thumbnail. That turned out okay. Okay, perfect. And now we change this chat to live chat. And put the analytics screen up. Okay. All right, good to go. Now, can I make this screen bigger? What's that button do? Yeah, timestamps. I want timestamps up. Okay, perfect. All right. I shouldn't say let's get started. Let's continue. I believe we're doing the black lining on this guy. I'm kind of tired of doing these pre-paint half tracks. Good Lord. Because they have they have these quirky things that, like I said, they have more detail in some ways than the 3D printed ones. They've got these the rear view mirrors and the width indicators and things like that, which the 3D print ones don't have. But they don't have rivets and you know. I guess we're gonna have a sneeze attack this morning. Okay. However, I can remove the top so I can get into the benches and paint them a little easier. It doesn't mean I can't paint these. It's just a little easier. Just get the hell out of the way. You know, non-issue. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the weathering on this, which is going to involve. Oh, we don't need readers. Readers and being nearsighted don't help. They work against each other. Nope, that's dark sand. Looking for Iraqi sand. There it is. It's a little pinkier. More pink, pinkier, something like that. I'm gonna put some of this US Field Drab on here. We're gonna go really, really light. And I really have no intention to make another half track for the desert. They were very, very rare in the desert. All right, we're going to go over this very, very lightly. Get almost all of this off. This probably would look a lot better if I had stripped the paint off of it. But seeing how it's not truly a die cast model. If it was die cast, I'd just strip it. But somebody was telling me, and I didn't believe them. Well, I was reading that um, die cast cars, Hot Wheels cars, Matchbox cars, actually have quite a bit of detail in them. The problem is it's covered up under all this goop, this factory sprayed paint. I didn't believe them until I stripped a couple of them, and you can actually still see all the detail. It's a lot crisper than it leads you to believe. Let's take care of this, or you're going to be hearing the sniffles the whole time. For all I know, it's pollen. It's supposed to be back to, it had been wet. It actually rained a lot the last 2 days, and which we needed it. And then today should be back to the pollen hell. Neat figures. I can barely see that. Let's see if I can enlarge that a little bit. Floating fish. I like that handle. That's a good handle, man. Let's see if I can pop out the chat if it looks bigger than that. Let's see. Pop out chat. Is that bigger for me? It is. All right, now what if I enlarge the screen a little bit more? Now I'm going to move this screen over here so I can still see the concurrent views. Perfect. That's a little bit better. Good morning. Yeah, speaking of figures, I need to do some figures soon. But I like this being able to jump around. For your sake and mine, for other people's sake, because, if I'm working on some project that all I'm doing is, say, North Africa, and somebody's not interested in North Africa, and, that's what I'm going to be doing the next year, you're kind of screwed because that's all you get to see. So I don't mind hopping around. There's plenty of things to do. I don't need to have these done by a certain date. I'd like to get them done for certain games, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I mean, look at the people that build models. They don't do them for any particular thing. They just do them. I feel like doing an airplane next or whatever. That kind of thing. Good morning, Marcus. I still can't tell whether it's you or Jeffrey at a distance. Your icon is all like fleshy. Actually, what doesn't work bad is in the evenings where I'm painting with my contacts in and just put the readers on, but I see a lot better now. Okay, I think that's all that we're going to do on that. I don't know if you were on here last night when I said I was disappointed that I found out the inside of a SDKFZ 251 10 is modified from the standard troop carrier. In other words, it's got ammo compartments and things in there. But so I went on ScaleMates to see what it looked like, and many manufacturers just took their standard 251 and just threw the Pack 36 on there and didn't modify anything on the inside. So that's what I'm going to do. I actually have little ammo cases for this because this is actually came from the Pack 36, and I might actually arrange some in there for it or not. You know, I could always say like, man, the interior of this one's really good, so let's just play this. Let's just use this one with this one, and then when it's time to modify it, I'll modify this one that hasn't even been messed with. But I'm like, really, do I want to sit here and remove all this stuff? And well, maybe I do. You know, that is food for thought. Well, speaking of jumping around, I may actually do that. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Maybe that was a catalyst. It doesn't need to look exactly, but you know, God, that's really brittle. These must have been in somebody's garage in Florida where all the humidity got ripped out of the plastic, and that breaks pretty easy. Okay, well, we're going to do the interior with this one. Okay, well, that's sometimes what you need. All right, so now let's do Jose's ones that I really wanted to do. We will not be treating them that way. Let's do this guy. Let's do the no, we're all yeah, let's yeah, I don't know what number to do for the mortar one. I don't. These are all ones because they're going to be all the same platoon. I'm going to probably do these as second company. So this would, not this one, this is going to be a 2. This one's going to be a 2. This one's going to have probably 1,000 series number. So it's like a held at battalion level. I don't know what number to do on the mortar and that half track. And the radio one, I don't know either. All right, so with that said, we're going to do this one. Let's paint the seats. Let's paint the seats. Yeah, there's a lot of freedom with just being like, nah, I don't feel like doing this today. Let's do this instead. Okay, as long as you're working on something. All right, what did I miss? Wasn't on. The joy of modeling decisions made for you. Yeah, sometimes, you know, and I truly mean that. As long as I'm working on something, it doesn't really matter what it is that I'm working on. This guy has black lining. There's no reason that it may not have more later on. Let's go ahead and paint the seats. You never know what's going to happen. I might break something. I'd thought about it, but I'm like, you know, I just want it to look different. Like, you know, you can't carry because I literally was thinking like it was screwing with me. Like the other day, I don't think I verbalized this, but I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this normally carries 10 people, but how many can you carry when you have the gun? Well, the answer is you don't carry any. It's just a crew. It's just a crew, so. All right. Beige brown. And I saw some pictures of the interior that some of these people did on some of these reenactment vehicles in modern day. And I don't like the color that the seats are. The seats actually look like they had quite a bit of a contour to them. In other words, the front of the seat, you know, it's like a bench and there's slats. and the front of the seat is significantly higher than the back. Like probably like a deep bucket. And I think, well, that's not represented at all. They look flat here. They look flat on every one of them. These actually have a little bit of a contour, but not much. And let's get. I hate taking the lid off. I get black shit on me, and then I transfer that onto something else. So when you asked yesterday what I'm going to do next, I don't know. I'm a little bummed that I'm going to have to do the counter scheme on these vehicles coming up, and I'm ready to do that. And every vehicle is going to be potentially about the same looking. Within its class, all the A13s are going to look potentially about the same. I didn't know that. That was kind of a bummer, getting that book and realizing, oh, if I want to do it correctly, then it needs to be this way. And I was a bit bummed out by that. And once you find out you need to do things a certain way for it to be realistic, I kind of have to. I find myself having to work within that framework. It doesn't mean I have to follow it exactly, but it does feel like I need to kind of stay within that framework. Good morning, Justin. I watched the movie Downfall over the last 2 days. Very dark and depressing film. You hadn't seen it before? I went to Europe. One of the things I was looking for in Europe is that figure set from whoever it is that has all the little Hitler Youth guys and the little mustachioed guy himself, because it'd be good for scenarios. You ever read any books? Well, it sounds like an insult. You ever read any book? Boy, you ever read any books? Because that book that I read several years ago about getting Hitler to escape. It's fiction. It's fiction. At least this book is fiction. Is really good, or I remember it being really good. And if it was on Audible, I'd read it again. But to sit down and read a book and not be distracted by other things, I can't do that anymore. Able to read like a physical book at an airport, there's just too much like, huh, you know. And I don't think it's a squirrel thing because I can stay on task. It's just I'm used to doing everything in silence. And I get distracted by just about anything, including these people that like to talk on their phones. They use them as a speakerphone. They want the whole world to hear. Like, I don't care about your conversation. Give yourself some privacy. Anybody who ever does that, it's not anybody that you want to listen in on their conversation. You know, it's not like there's some really hot girls that are doing that. Like, oh, I wonder who she's hanging out with. Not that I'm into that. I'm just saying, downfall or falling down. Which one? I remember that being a twisting old movie. Now this is Downfall, the one about ADH and the last days of Berlin. I want to see it again, but I don't want to see the parts that have Hitler in it. Huh? I mean, there's parts of the movie I don't remember, like where the guys are like defending the building, like they grab people that are just like off the street, shooting Panzerfaust and stuff like that. I remember watching Downfall. I'm just not a big Hitler fan, and by that I mean, well, I mean I'm not a fan of Hitler, but what I was getting at is I'm not a fan of of seeing things that involve that political kind of thing. I did manage time to watch a video on the Fallet Pocket that was done pretty decently. It was actually done by the Imperial War Museum. And obviously I knew what it was about, but since I was looking at those scenarios, it kind of put everything in perspective. And it was kind of interesting that the Allies kind of played a big part. The Canadians and the Poles. The Poles just held there for a while, but let's brighten this up a little bit more. I don't think I'm gonna buy one of those sets where it has the extra equipment and stuff to put on the outside of the vehicles. They're too expensive, and then making molds and casting to get other ones. I think I'm just gonna make my own stuff out of green stuff and just kind of wing it. I think that's what I'm gonna do. You see that Ron put his picture of his Panzer IV-E that he's working on? I wish he'd finish up the Stugs, man. I could see getting 6 of those. Or, one version of each one of them to make or something like that. Well, the problem about the different countries is, you got British that wear, the British infantry wear a kit, and the Canadians wear the same one, and so do the Poles. And you got Americans and Free French, and the Free French are, just wearing American kits. So I'm like, shit. I don't mind painting some Canadian specific vehicles or some Polish specific vehicles. But doing Canadian specific figures as opposed to British ones, that just seems like a waste of time. Because at least with the vehicles, I get to paint them differently to a degree. With the figures, I'm painting them basically the same. It's not putting a little name tag that's different on the bottom of them. But I'm probably going to go back to North Africa after this escapade. I think I'll paint some infantry. I haven't painted a single Africa Corps infantry dude. And they're all prime, ready to go. Other than the Africa Corps tank commanders, which turned out really, really pretty good. You seen that guy that has a YouTube video? Has a YouTube channel. He focuses on collecting plastic soldiers. I don't remember what the name of his channel is, but I think he's from Norway or Sweden. Has a pretty good demeanor. I like his presentation. He has a bit of an accent, but he's easy to understand. And he has all of these things, and he'll pull out, like, different soldier sets from different things, and he'll show all the figures and all the poses, and he talks about them and so forth. But like he's bought some of the stuff nowadays, so he's like, this box is a little damaged and this kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking, I don't think he's going to paint them or anything, which is fine if that's what your hobby, but that's just called buying shit. And that's great if that's what makes you happy, but I don't know, it just seems kind of like a waste. I wouldn't want to do, and he doesn't. I guess a lot of these are like 1/32nd scale, which is pre 1/35th. And a lot of these people, Jeffrey's probably the one that told me about this. I didn't know this. I'm ignorant when it comes to some things, and like when I was used to doing GHQ, like little miniatures, little tanks, I'm like, they must make the mold this big and then have some kind of reducer that it reduces it fivefold or whatever to make it that size. Not they sculpt it in that size because honestly, it looks too damn precise to do that kind of thing. But apparently, that's the real scale. But a lot of the 1/72nd scale Airfix figures used to be 1/32nd scale first. So that blows my mind that they can make them look the same, but yet they're smaller. I don't know how that works. You got one sculptor that's just really good at makes them big and like, okay, I want the same guy but small. Like, all right, I got this, and he finds a way to make them look exactly the same. Like, that's pretty freaking amazing. He collects without building. Yeah, he just has things. He just he has things in boxes and stuff, which is great because you get to see what the boxes look like and everything. But he just puts them away again. It could be worse. He could be one of those people that collects things. Worse from my standpoint. Hey, that's what makes the guy happy. And he's providing a service. Like he's showing people what things look like. I like that stuff, unboxings. But there's people that collect things, and like it'd be like if you collected GI Joes, right? And you just leave them in the box, never pull the thing out. Like, well, I could just look at it in the damn store. Well, you can't anymore because they don't have them. But take them out and make a diorama with them or something. There's another guy that when I was doing the dinosaur stuff, he's got a channel like I think it's called something like Everything Dinosaur or something like that. I mean, he's got a lot of videos on like, okay, they're releasing these, because there's professional looking pre-made models of dinosaurs that are already pre-painted and everything, and they release certain of them every year, and he like goes, okay, these are new, and he shows it from different angles and who's makes it. I mean, that's really kind of cool, but I'm like, I'd want to repaint them. I mean, I'm just not. I just don't think a whole lot of like, what do? I buy shit and tell people I have stuff bought. Okay, I mean anybody can do that. That's just throwing money at the problem. Anybody can do that. All right, we need to lighten this up. I just don't have time to watch videos because if I do that, I'm not doing this. The other morning, Sunday morning, the day the time changed, I got on here an hour later than I normally do because I was trying to figure out the numbering system, and then I got sucked into the book and like, oh, who makes this book? And this is cool. Is it available for free? Like, did somebody illegally? Because look, I don't promote illegally downloading things, but if somebody went and did it, I might as well put it to good use. And help on the research, but they actually had it on Kindle for like $3. I'm like, all right, I'll get it on Kindle. And then, next thing you know, an hour has gone by. I'm like, holy shit, I mean, I got to get online. Now, you can spend a lot of time like just tinkering around and stuff. There's a channel called Plastic General that I watch from time to time. Guy's very animated, okay? Does 1/32 scale. I like seeing his conversions. Man, how do you... Oh, hold on a second. Oh, I guess... Confused. Haven't seen Ron's pictures. We'll check it out. Those were cut up and either Italy or Russia on your painting schedule. Yeah, he just put it on Facebook recently. Plastic General. You like seeing his conversion. How do you? I have heard of people converting things with the soft plastic figures. I just, it's just a material that's very lubey, and in that way, I mean, it's got a lot of, it's oily. It's I mean, the plastic is a petroleum product, right? It's very petroleum-y. So how do you glue that together? I mean, you could use epoxy, I guess, but nothing really seems to bond really well to the plastic figures. And you say that to people that do that. Oh, just use super glue. It's easy. It's not so easy, dude. There's only one thing I hate about plastic figures now, and that's taking the flash off of them. It is just, it is an exercise in, it makes me really nervous. Like, it's like I can paint numbers and I'm totally calm. And I start like taking the flash off figures, and I find it really stressful. Because if I'm careful and I take too much off, I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I could probably fix it, but man, it's a lot of work. But the castings on a lot of them, I mean, unless they're Atlantic figures, it's pretty good. Atlantic figures, man, they make some of those Eshies poses seem good. Guy with a rifle and guy with like a pair of binoculars, right? And he's got a rifle out like this and a pair of binoculars. Like, he's like, well, you mind using some of these weapons, or are you just showing us, saying, hey, look, I got a rifle and the binoculars? Just really, I like the Atlantic box art. That's how I ended up with a pair of Atlantic boxes way back when, like 1985 or 84 or something like that. 'Cause I saw the box art and it looked really cool. I got inside and I'm like, these look sad. Did it even make Atlantic still? I've only done a few 1/72 scale conversions. One was giving the classic German Africa Corps figure holding the unknown SMG. An MP41 and MP40 would have worked as well. I'm inspired by João Peixoto's work. Yeah, he doesn't keep anything from stopping his happy ass, does he? I mean, he paints every decal on. Which I'm telling you, I can see the benefit of doing that. Not even cost wise. He's just like, okay, I need this decal. I don't have it. Okay, well, let me order it. Nope. He just paints it. And sometimes it looks a bit sloppy for my taste, but does stop him from going. I think it, as an overall, I mean, that he's one of the guys that got me back into this, whether he knows it or not. I'm like, man, that guy's making a lot of cool shit. I want to do that. I just don't want to play rapid fire. Not my thing. I don't understand why rapid fire seems to be relatively popular. But if I wasn't doing what I do, I'd probably be doing chain of command, modified chain of command. Let's do the back one here. What we're using, a brown violet thing for that. I kind of like that. Not brown violet. Not to be confused with U.S. olive drab. That wasn't it. It might have no. It was the U.S. olive drab. This is just not the U.S. What was it? What I did? This one? Olive brown. What the hell's the difference between them? The same color. They just changed the name of it. Yeah, that MP41. That's for as good as those figures. They could have been much better. And I've never seen the Matchbox figures in a store. Never. The place where I worked, we had a lot of Matchbox kits, like aircraft. We had a lot of Matchbox aircraft. I don't think we had any Matchbox tanks. We had a lot of Matchbox aircraft for sale. And the cool thing about Matchbox aircraft is if you looked at the side of the box, it would tell you what decals it would have in it. You have a model of like the British swordfish, and it would tell you, oh, they have this one it comes with the decals for this squadron and this squadron. It would show you what they would look like on like a colored line drawing of the finished model. Sounds kind of cool. Still didn't get me to get anything. I don't think I ever had a single one of them, but when I was doing aircraft, I was younger. The last aircraft I completed, I was probably 14 or 15. This isn't too difficult to get in here and do this. I thought it was going to be a little bit more time consuming. But I never saw the plastic Matchbox figures ever like in a box or something. There was a hobby store I went to as a kid that had Matchbox kits, mostly AFVs and infantry. I have lots of old models, many that need repainting. I got a couple of the, and I do mean like two of the Africa Corps Matchbox ones. I've got like the NCO that has like he's holding MP40 and he's got like yeah, let's kick ass or whatever, but like his hand is missing. So I'm like, well, I can't use that guy. I don't know how I got him. And I had the running guy with a submachine gun, which looks kind of cool. Looks like a bodybuilder with a machine gun, with a submachine gun, with an MP40. That's it. And you can buy them on eBay, and they cost a fortune, like $30 a box or something like that. And I'm like, they're a little on the small side. Well, they're 176. Let's make sure this covers everything evenly. And then we can come in and use the core color. I wouldn't hunt them down. I would buy if I ever saw them at the flea market type sale. This fall, I would feel like they'd be real rubbery looking. This fall, I'm going to repaint 2 old Puma models. Everybody likes the Puma except that one guy. Wonder if he's related to the guy who doesn't like the Spitfire. There's only one thing I don't like about the Puma. It's a 2-man turret. Imagine if I had a 3-man turret. Well, then it would just get itself into more problems that it didn't need to be inside of. Did you ever go to that museum that was in Virginia? I think it was in this place called Danville, I think right on the border with North Carolina, kind of away from the interstate. And it was a private collection that had hundreds of tanks in a big warehouse. And I found out about it a few years ago when I was still going to Historicon. I told Mitch, I said, let's stop by there on the way up. But come to find out that it's somebody's private collection. They're only open on Saturday and Sunday. Like, that doesn't really work for the Historicon. If they're open on Sunday, like I say, I meant Friday and Saturday. If they're open on Sunday, you could hit it on the way back. And now I heard they closed. So yeah, I never made it. Wanted to go. Yeah, we got the guys in the local model group they put together. I think recently they went up to Fort. I'm gonna call it Fort Benning because that's what it's always been. I don't know what the hell it changed to. And they had many vehicles that used to be at Aberdeen. I understand are there, which I never got a chance to go to Aberdeen. but it's only open to the public on certain days. And they were going like on a Friday. I'm like, well, I'm not retired like you guys, so I won't be going on a Friday. I find that annoying. There's a lot of like stuff I don't want to participate in, museums and such that I don't want to go see, and they're free to the public and open all the time. And the thing I am interested in, oh, we're only open, whenever we freaking feel like it. I'm like, sons of bitches, you just don't want me going there. As I'm going to point out, you got rivets in the wrong place, or that's the wrong colored Dunkelgelb, clown. I was trying to think what that new terminology I came with yesterday was on the show, and I forgot what it was, and I remembered it, and then I forgot it again. Tenderloin, that's what it is. Nerd burglars and tenderloins. Okay, that looks pretty decent. We have a split on the back door. That's good. Um, let's get this. Let's rustify this thing. I actually started picking things back up about the time you got back into World War II, maybe a year earlier. Your hobby took a slide for about 10 years when my daughter was young. I've always painted by. I'm trying. What's the biggest slide I took? Um, so in 1995 or 1996, I stopped going to conventions to play naval games because I ran a game in Tampa, and it wasn't the series of conventions that are running now. It was a different one. I think it was a different one. And I ran a game, and I had to deal with people ham fisting my miniatures, and it really just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And never ran anything again at conventions until 2004. And during that time, 96, like 96, 97, nobody lived in town. Everybody had moved away. Um, my regular buddy was in the service. He had moved to South Carolina, I think. And I really wasn't doing anything. No, okay, right. So right after that naval game, he was studying here at UF, and and he would come over Wednesday nights, and he did that probably for, I'm gonna say, 2 years. He'd come over every Wednesday night, and that's when I started doing the 20 mil stuff. I shifted from doing 1/2400 scale ships to 20 mil things, but I found it really difficult to want to work on my stuff while I wasn't being social. So even though I got a lot of stuff done, I didn't get a lot of stuff done by today's standards. And the game never took off. Like I got like, what did I get done at that time? Probably a couple squads of German infantry, a squad of Soviets. Maybe that was about it. And it wasn't until I found the face of battle in like 2000 or something like that that I started painting a few. But then, DBA came along, and I mean, I got a lot of painting done with DBA, but there was a lull period in probably 2009, 2008, 2009, when I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna paint again. Like it just takes so much time. I just wasn't enjoying it. But like now, I got to do it all the time because there's too many things that go south on a Monday through Friday basis that I need to feel good about something. There's too many things that just make you feel unsatisfactory on a work day. I just need something positive to start with, and that's why I'm doing this. Oh, we've already got the wood out here. Let's go ahead and do that. So I don't see painting. I don't see stopping to paint unless I somehow get retired and I don't need more things to go well. But I got an email from somebody who goes to our conventions. They don't live local, but it's a DBA guy, and he said, "Hey, I hope you're well and hope you're getting some gaming in." I don't know why everybody's so obsessed with having to get gaming in. I don't need to get gaming in. I haven't played a face-to-face game in a year. Well, if you don't count the games I played at the convention, yeah, a year, and I don't miss it. It's just too inconvenient. You're back. You're gonna go for a bit, get dressed, and I'll be back. Yes, please don't watch this program not fully dressed. Not that kind of program. Some people like really need a game. I don't need a game that bad. I wouldn't be gaming this because this isn't ready yet. So I don't really need the distractions of something else. And if we gamed on Saturday, okay, maybe. But we're gaming on a weeknight. Like, don't worry, you're in my robe. Oh, royalty. My wife always likes wearing a robe. Like if they go to a hotel or something like that, and they have robes, and I'm like, nah, not my thing. Gaming will come later for me. I might do 4 games this year. Need a place I can leave a game set up. Exactly. Yep. Well, I could game on the table. It actually worked a lot better than I thought. It's too small. I know it works. It actually works all right. But some people just like they want to game. They never build anything. They never paint anything. They never do anything else. I'm like, it's not like I'm not playing games. We're just doing it on the Xbox if we need to. Like, hey, I want to go kill somebody. It's what I like to say. What? I go get in a sword fight with somebody. Do that for a little bit. Okay, that was fun. Back to painting. It's not like I'm not doing any gaming at all. I think just the other people I game with either are retired or they just don't have a job that's very stressful. It's like one of the worst things you could do for me is say, hey, what are we going to play? I don't know. Well, who's going to show up? Well, we don't know. Well, fuck that. I can't play anything around that. Like, sure, if you have a death in a family or something like that, you won't be coming. But like, dude, plan a little bit. You know, you can't have something that comes up every single time. You're just an unreliable person then. And that's not my small New York City apartment. Well, you could get a bigger apartment, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. Where are? I know I have a bunch of them. These are MG34s. Where's the pencil mount 42s? Did I leave them outside? Airbrush them. If I did, then we'll just have to wait on that. Yeah, I think I did. I'd put them inside the vehicles. And when I took stuff out there to spray, I didn't spray everything. I mean, there's other vehicles to spray, like the Crusaders and. Yeah, this camouflage turned out really well. This is probably the best airbrush job I've done. So I did watch an airbrush video on how to, next time I have to clean one, kind of go in a different direction. Guy gave me some pointers. We'll see if he's got that whole back flush thing. I'm like, I've never tried that before. I may have done it like accidentally. Like, oops, that worked out. But let's get a little bit of the Iraqi sand. Time to go make the donuts. Yep. It's that time for Eastern Standard Zone reporting for duty. Well, that's the wrong tweezer. Here it is. Hanging out underneath here. Man, what is it with today? The pollen is out. There we go. Get those. Give me a good seal on this paint. Let me just dry brush the tracks a little bit. Otherwise, I ended up doing this for nothing. And then I'm out too. Unfortunately. Wish I could do this all day long. Have to use a bit of a warm color on this because if you don't use a dry brush that has some warmth to this color, it's going to look like I'm dry brushing it in white, which is not really what I want to look for it to look like. Nothing too heavy. And you'll have to remember to get the MGs in one. It's about time to put the MG42 on the back. Yeah. Yeah, you go darker than that, it just ends up looking like the tracks they just get lost. Like you didn't even paint them. All right, folks. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.